Hey there, YouTube. Thanks for joining me for the next episode of Jay's Beer Reviews. So in this episode, I'm doing Capital Brewing's Maibock. And so the one thing I wanted to say is I'm really kind of happy about doing these videos because it pushes me to try beers I wouldn't normally try. A lot of lagers I'm not a huge fan of. I really like beers that are a bit more hoppy, have a bit more going on, a little stronger or more robust in character. Lagers usually are not in that vein. Usually lagers are a bit just more for kind of everyday drinking. But it's the season. 'Tis the season. And so a bunch of Maibocks are coming my way right now. So I thought, you know what, I may as well give them a try. And so that's why I decided to do Capital's Maibock. And honestly, I don't know too much about the style because that's not one that I try very often. And it's one that only comes around every so often. So let me go to my style guidelines and find out a little bit of information about them. I did a little bit of soul searching, and it turns out that Maibock is not necessarily a category that's in the BJCP style guidelines. In category, it would fall under a Helles Bock. So the overall impression is a relatively pale, strong, malty German lager beer with nicely attenuated finish that enhances drinkability. So there's no residual sugars left in that beer. The yeast has fermented it out as dry as can be. So the hop character is generally more apparent than in other bocks. So I do know that at least bocks are like a malt-centric beer. Usually not, hops are not the highlight of the beer. It's usually just a malt focus on it. So for the aroma, it's moderate to strong, grainy, sweet malt aroma, often with a lightly toasted quality and low Maillard products. Maillard meaning like a kind of like burning that goes on in the boil of the beer. So moderately to no hop aroma. Often the hops can have a spicy, herbal, or floral quality. Should be clean fermentation. Fruity esters should be low to none, so it should not be an estery beer. A very light alcohol can be noticeable because these Maibocks are a bit stronger than your regular Bock. For color, it should be a deep gold to a light amber, bright, very clear in clarity. It should be very brilliant. Large, creamy, persistent white head. So for flavor, it says that moderate to moderately strong, grainy, sweet malt flavor dominates. Some toasty notes. Little or no caramel flavor. Moderate to no hop flavor. Moderate bitterness. And then clean fermentation. Very well attenuated. It's not cloying. It's not overly sweet. Should be a dry finish that persists. One interesting thing that the BJCP points out, for the style comparison, it could be thought of as either a pale version of a Dunkel's Bock or a Munich Helles brewed to Bock strength. So Munich Helles is like one of the lighter German lagers that you can make. But if it's brewed at a stronger strength, that's what they're saying that this beer basically turns into. And then for the commercial examples, the number one example is something that I can't pronounce. Alten Münster Maibock is the number one style example. Second is Einger's Maibock. And then third is actually the Capital Maibock. So this should be a really good representation of what the style is. So I went over a little bit about what the style is. Again, it's something that I'm not super familiar with because I don't drink Maibock all that often. But what I'll do next, like I always do, is I just look at the bottle. So I got two labels on this bottle, the one on the neck and then the one on the actual front here. The one on the neck doesn't say anything other than just the government warning, and it says Capital Maibock. The one here at the bottom, it says Capital Brewing Maibock. Our spring seasonal is a deep golden lager with a flavorful but smooth malt presence. When you see our Maibock hit the shelves, you know things are about to get better, including the weather. Thank you for predicting the future for me, Capital Brewing Maibock. I'm hoping things do get better. I'm hoping things get awesome. I want it to be nice and warm so I can go sit on my patio and drink some beer with you guys. But what I do also see on here is actually their website, who they're brewed by. I see the alcohol is 6.2%, so it's definitely a little bit stronger than your average beer. But I don't see anything else. So while it does refer me to the website, I do think the image of the goat with the Capitol building is an interesting one. Got some mountains in the background. It's a really interesting, cool-looking imagery on the bottle. But that's all I got out of it. So there's my thing for Capital Brewing Maibock's Maibock. Capital Brewing Maibock. So that's my thing for that beer. So honestly, I don't have a lot of experience with Maibocks. I always had thought that the Oktoberfest and the Maibock were kind of like similar styles. Similar in that the Oktoberfest comes out in October, Maibock in May. But I kind of look at them as like, Okay, the Oktoberfest is like a average German lager with a little bit of extra malt added, a little bit of extra hops, so it's just a little bit amped up, a little bit more flavorful. I kind of thought that was the same thing with the Maibock in that it was just a little bit extra added to it to kind of just amp it up. But apparently there are big differences between a Maibock and a Oktoberfest. Tune in for my next episode, part 2 of Capital Brewing's Maibock. It's where I'll actually open up the beer and give you my tasting notes on it. If you enjoyed my little run through of what a Maibock is, according to the BJCP, go ahead and hit the like button for me down there. Go ahead and hit subscribe. You'll see my new videos as they come up. And I will look forward to drinking some more beer with you guys. So thanks for joining Jay's Beer Reviews.